Yo, we are ready to roll a little bit. I want to adjust my camera lighting real quick. There we go. That's a little bit better. A little slow, but there we go. So today we will be working on multiplayer, and that's a big contrast from what I was working on like last week. Was it last week? Yeah, about last week, which was a new attack style. So why multiplayer now? How will multiplayer work in Angels and Demons? So that's a great question, actually. I'm intending on doing different game modes for it. So basically, there'll be a versus mode, which if you've ever played New Super Mario Brothers, kind of like that one-on-one mode where one person plays as Mario and the other is Luigi, just with the 4 playable characters of Angels and Demons. I'm thinking of doing a co-op mode as well, where you could kind of play through the story mode and, you know, based on how many characters you've got unlocked. I'm still kind of working out the details on it, but you kind of be able to just move around the same room like the New Super Mario Bros. Wii game. And if you go into a battle, each character will be controlled by their own player, basically. Mostly platforming? Sort of. So, with the versus mode, it could probably be knocked down into 3 different sub-modes, I guess. Immediately off the top of my head, I'm thinking like, there'll obviously be just like the free-for-all versus where you'll have to fight over a certain amount of whatever item. You know, maybe there could be little runes that pop up across the map, and then you'd have to collect those. The first one to a certain amount wins, right? Another would be the rhythm game, and obviously that's not something that would have to be like one-on-one synced, but rather just like, hey, we should start the song roughly at the same time, and we'll report scores and then compare there. So there's 2 game modes. And then there would be I'm thinking a race mode. Something I'm planning for the base game, just outside of multiplayer, is escape sequences from certain areas, a la Pizza Tower, Wario Land 4, stuff like that, Wario Land Shake It, where you'd have to make it out of an area in a specific amount of time. So I thought it could be fun to have a set start point for each of these and end point, and then you could race your friends against it and see who's faster. And one final one, I guess this would be 4 sub-modes that I'm just kind of toying with, because I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but a hide-and-seek mode. So the only issue with a hide-and-seek mode is like actually hiding in a 2D platformer. That's the only thing that's like, how would you do that? But maybe if there's preset maps or something like that with extra things to hide around, then it could work, but that one's still cooking a little bit. I don't really know how feasible a hide-and-seek mode would realistically be. But the other 3 are like almost locked in, pretty much. I know for certain I want to do a versus mode at the very least, but like the others might get they might exist, but they might not. It just depends on how well I can actually write all this stuff, because it's a little complicated, but but that's what I'm going to be working on today. At least getting the basic framework out. Like prop hunt. So, like prop hunt, maybe? I'm not sure how I could potentially do that, since most of the objects in Angels and Demons, at least like level objects are contained inside tile sets, and that kind of looks like this, right? So it's not really, this isn't really something you could disguise as, in quotes, but now if I were to have a more NPC dense area, in a sense, say like World 3 is going to have a pretty big tourist trap location, so I mean you could disguise as NPCs, but I mean then at that point it kind of starts sounding more like Among Us, where like one person's an imposter and you have to suss them out. So I don't know how that would work, but I don't know. It's all up to like right now it's all still like up in the air on like what could work, but I do want a multiplayer mode at the end of the day, just because I feel like it'd be really fun, and you know, having fun is like the it's kind of the selling point, you know. I think the game should be fun above everything else at the end of the day, so that's what I'm rolling with. Ideally though, versus mode at minimum, co-op might get axed, but that's just dependent on how I can make it work properly. Like if you want to do a co-op story mode, because at the very least you'll have like 2 players, because you right out of the gate you have, you know, your main character and you have Huey, so that could work. Minimum 2 players. As you go along and unlock more, you could let more of your friends join in, but that like makes sense from a gameplay perspective. Like, oh yeah, you shouldn't just be able to pop in extra characters, but from a, oh well, I have 3 or 4 friends, right? I have 3 friends, including myself. If we all wanted to play co-op, then well, we gotta wait until we've hit like World 6 or 7 and we have all 4 characters unlocked. Then that sounds like an unnecessary barrier, sort of. So, I mean, I could end up doing like just palette swaps, but I don't know. It's still up in the air a little bit, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. I'll figure something out eventually, hopefully. So, I guess what I need to do first is make sure all this is properly working, so I'm going to compile the game real quick. I gotta compile it to be able to open multiple instances and test it. So let me get my server application open too, real quick. I guess I should also explain why there's 2 different windows here. The window on the left is for the base game. So this over here is code for Angels and Demons, and this over here on the right is code that is for a server application. So eventually I could migrate this to just being a like built into the game itself, so you could host a server that way. But I kind of like the idea of having it offloaded onto a separate application, because it's easier to manage that way. In a sense, it is, at least. So I wouldn't have to push out a, you know, 100 megabyte game update for any kind of multiplayer patches. It's just update the server and that's it. But that also allows you to, you know, if you have like long distance friendships, I guess, like across the country or in a different country or something like that, you'd want to maybe run the server at a more central location and you connect that way, which would be, you know, a lot better in terms of ping, because I won't say my netcode is like the best with this. It's kind of it's mid at best. Like, it's very similar to Nintendo's, I guess I'd say, in the sense that it's synchronous instead of asynchronous, so everything has to sync up with everyone before it'll continue moving on. So we'll go ahead and host up a server here on my local network. Well, that's what this is. This window is our server, basically. And I'll go over here to Angels and Demons. And this might just crash right off rip. I'm not sure, but will people have to port forward, or will there be a way to just connect? So that's actually a really good question. As of right now, in its current state, you will have to port forward, but in the future, like when the game is actually released, I imagine, you know, there'll be some stuff that just allows it to work properly. Like say it's packaged with Steam. If you go to play multiplayer in, say, I think it's Terraria, it's like, oh yeah, pick a port, pick a this and this, but you can also just join from your Steam friends list. I imagine it would ideally work something like that. Though I've not really weighed that as an option just yet. Of course, I don't like the idea of having to port forward everything. Like, it's tedious at best, but at the same time, you know, I don't really have a way to go about setting that up. So, we did not get a connected message back from the server, so that's not good. But yeah, in the future, I would like to have it just work instead of requiring port forwarding. So let's see here. I need to find a cool little event here that says, hey, we connected. Though these, the server does have support for password protecting too. And I also intend on putting like a huge disclaimer like, hey, you know, this is like if you have to port forward, you're not using like some kind of dedicated server for this, you will have to open your network up, which can be dangerous. Please be sure you know what you're doing. Like, because I would hate for someone to get goofed over by like trying to host a server for the game, but I mean, like that's kind of a given. Gotta have one of those big disclaimers shoved up at the center, like, you know, don't do dumb things on the internet and you should be okay. But let's see. Establish. So join and this code is also pretty old, so I kind of have to like relearn what all I wrote, because I wrote this code back in I think back in like October of 2022. So I'm kind of having to go back over my existing code and everything. So let me look up here to connect event. Client. This is net connect. Okay, and global.net client.connected is true. So if we get a connect back, then that means we are connected and we can do things. But if we are refused, then we should go back to the file select for now. And destroy our client. This contains a map though too, doesn't it? Should be a destroy event. Safety stuff in check. This buffer should be, yeah, that gets deleted after anything happens. So I guess I need to do some work over here in the server, actually. Because as it stands right now, this server object doesn't do a whole lot, but just send stuff back and forth. So kind of want to rewrite all this code, but Decisions. So I'm trying to consider now how to handle these things. So global.mode should be multi-state.versus. So versus mountains. We'll just add the hub in there as a versus level in quotes just for testing right now. Or I could just like actually make a co-op just work. Okay. Let's go ahead and get the server up and running. go. Okay, game running. Let's get an instance of angels and demons open here. Okay, we are connected now because we have our chat menu now, which is good. And let me get another instance open here. Move these around a little bit. Okay. Okay. And I've seen the puppet player show up for just a second. So now if I go in here, haha! DS list size argument 1 incorrect type expecting a number. That's so funny. Okay. Well, that tells me we have a server issue. So let me build this in the VM. Okay, yeah, this is just something that happens. Ah, this is happening in setup, not the server. Ah, I see. So... there we go. That should work. So I'll go ahead and get my game instances back up here. It's actually such a hassle testing this stuff out. It's not like I can actually offload it and let people help me with this, just because I'd have to send 50,000 EXEs like every 10 seconds. Okay, server running. Connected. Cool. And connected. Okay, both are joined. And an existing room number -1. Which means something did not get sent back from the server properly. Okay. Good to know. So... So what am I forgetting here? We seek to the start of the buffer, correct. We need to write the header, which is the state, and then lobby for that one. Send to the lobby. I think that's proper syntax. I forget the accessor for DS lists. Can I use localhost for this? Surely, right? Okay. There we go. Double up on instances. That's funny. Whoops. Okay. That answers that question. It wasn't working the other day, so. Okay. Both are connected, so. Aha! Okay. Cool, there we go. We've got stuff working, so okay. So this is displaying not the right username, which means we're getting something incorrect sent. This one is displaying that though, so I guess whichever one was there first gets priority. Okay. So effectively, this is our co-op mode a little bit. Only a little bit, and we can actually go to different rooms. We should be able to. Let's fact check that real quick. I go, yeah, okay. Cool, cool, cool. So, you're not locked to the same room currently. It's kind of like free roam, in a sense. But it definitely works. Only some things don't properly show up. Though, if I go and change my character, does that update? Yeah. Okay. Multiplayer is not a feature I would have expected from this game. Looks pretty cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I'm looking at doing, ideally a multiplayer versus mode, or a multiplayer co-op mode, or something or another. There's a few different ones I'm looking into doing. What's kind of happening right now on screen is, I guess, a very early version of co-op, and this has kind of been in the works for a little bit, like, say, back from October of 2022. But multiplayer versus, kind of like from the new Super Mario Brothers game on the DS, and then maybe a co-op mode like New Super Mario Brothers Wii, along with playing the rhythm game in multiplayer. So basically, both characters would start the song at the same time. You know, no kind of synchronization would be needed between the two other than that. And then once they end, they report a score back to this little server app up here, and just see who has the higher score. Another one that I was toying with as an idea was a race mode. Later portions of the base game are going to have some escape sequences, kind of like the Wario Land 4, Pizza Tower, Wario Land Shake It, and the like, where you'll have to get out of an area as fast as you can. So I figured it might be fun to, you know, challenge your friends and see who can make it through an area faster or something. But, you know, all different things I'm still considering. I got to get the base multiplayer functionality working, which it kind of is. There's also a chat that may or may not work. We'll see here. Test. Yep, there we go. So that came from Journoid 2 over here on the right. And then test 1 from Journoid. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Alright. So why a chat? Basically, this would be for sending, like the server would send messages to and from. Though that functionality isn't there in its entirety yet, but it is coded in. Like whenever the server sends a message, it can color code the messages. So if it's like an alert, like, hey, the game is ending, or the game is ended, you've been disconnected, something like that, it would be in red. Or if it's like a game state change, like, hey, we are going to co-op mode from versus, or we're going to whatever, it'll be in green, and so on. But as it is right now, like, so I have these two different instances of the game here running. I can go basically anywhere in the game, and it should just work properly. So I'll go ahead and I will go here to World 1. And you'll see some debug stuff on there of me testing that escape sequence stuff I was just talking about. And now we can come over here with our second instance of the game. And ideally, if we go in here, we should show up in the same room. Like we could just whiz right past our primary instance of the game. Yep, there we go. There he is, and there he was. So one thing I actually do need to test out, some new check I added was, does the scarf grapple look correct? It doesn't, not really. Doesn't seem to get the angle on there really good, but that's okay. Did it work properly with the slide? Okay, yeah, angle does not get properly updated, but we do get our slowdowns. It's so interesting. So we know our characters sync up properly, so we've got Yui here with a few missing animations, but okay. Cool, cool, cool. So now, if we go into a battle, what will happen? Okay, that kind of goes over the name there, but so there's a little ghost character here, like, hey, we're in a battle. We're battling right here. So this would be how it works, ideally. Hi Momo, how are you doing? See, does it work properly coming out though? Oh, we crashed the game! That's so funny. So, oh, and they're gone because we disconnected. Very cool, very cool. Alright. So, I guess now would be as good a time as ever to stress test. How many characters can I connect at once before it starts to go silly? Or how many instances of the game can I run at once? Because I have a few. I feel like I tested this once before and it was like capped at about 3 or 4. I'm doing pretty good, Momo, actually. I've been puzzling over this multiplayer for a little bit, and now I've got it working in a state that I'm a little happy with. Okay, we get those join messages, 3 and 4, okay. Now let's see here. Can I send everyone? Okay. There we go. Alright. Haha. So here's 3 characters in at once. Everything seems to be synced up. Let's go for 4. And nice. So this would be ideally the upper threshold of how many players you would realistically want at once, I have to imagine. But it does seem to just work. Just works. That sends across everywhere, and we still have this earlier instance that didn't crash that still has the previous chat logs too. So if I set my character here, we'll go with Kaguya for this one. Main character here. And Yui over here. Let's see. I know if I click out of the window, it'll freeze them in the air, so we'll do that. Where's our Kaguya? There we go. Alright. So, yeah, multiplayer is kind of here. So, not a ton that can be done with it yet. Just yet. But, I have to imagine that this is going to go into something much more fun later on. So, let's see, where's, if we close the game, does it disconnect from the others? Yes. Let's get this one out. Are we going? Yep. Okay. Disconnect seems to work. Alright. So, that is all well and good. So now, I guess my next thing should be handling collisions. So this would be more for versus mode. If you collide into another player, then ideally something should happen in versus mode. So that's what this is for. I guess this is all important stuff that needs to be sent over. We obviously need to send, you know, what person we are, what character we are, where we are, if we're facing forwards or backwards, if we're for some reason upside down. Also have to bake in the angle. Okay. Now, should probably only do this if it's versus mode. So if global.multistate equals multistate.versus, so we don't even need to waste our network bandwidth on sending this stuff over if we're not in versus mode. Now, ideally, I think I have this set up to where it will work regardless of what frame rate you're on too, since GameMaker is like by default tied to the frame rate. Everything runs tied to the game's frame rate. So I have things in place to make that not happen. So if you're like me and like 240 FPS gameplay, you know, that's a thing you can do. But it should only update your position every however many milliseconds are in a frame. at 60 FPS. So let's see, what do we need here? I think ideally we will need to know like what type of collision is happening. So let's get player state, and then we'll switch the player state. So if we're dashing, we would like to, or I actually can do this a little better. We will just do buffer right to our buffer, the player state, because this will always return a number, an enumerated number, but a number nonetheless. So now, if we send a collision to the server, what should happen? I think actually this server object needs to have some extra stuff. So I think we need to kind of keep track of where the player is in this. So our OBJ player isn't even used yet, but I really could have done a better job at naming my variables, but thankfully I can refer to it here. So, this actually needs to come from here, this one. So, we'll just make a, on our connect, we will make a player. Actually, maybe I don't want to do it like that. Only puzzling just a little bit. But, let's see. This, we receive a socket from this, so, okay. We'll just ds list add. Yeah. Or actually, no, that won't work properly. So we want to be able to remove it later. Quite the puzzle, actually. The joy of programming. So my thought process for this is, whenever we get information from the player, you know, this should be stored on the server, logically. Instead of just immediately getting pinged back to everyone, it should be stored on the server too, as like the more accurate location. So, I have an idea. DS map. I think DS maps are what I want. This is the one that allows you to put a key in. Or can I do this with a struct? Nah. DS map might actually just be easier. Okay. So yeah, I think that's what I want. And then when we disconnect, we want to DS map delete or instance destroy first. DS map find value. Yeah, I think this is the idea. So Okay. So, oh, can we iterate through a DS map? I didn't even think about that. Surely. Maybe a map is not what we want to use for this, actually. This can actually be a list, yeah. DS list add. Okay, yeah, this should work. Ideally. We'll just need to make this a list now. Simple as. It was overcomplicating it, shocker. I don't ever do that. Ha ha ha. Okay, so... Alright. Oh, forgot a parenthesis. There we go. I think this is what we want for that now. And we can go in here to the network and we'll just put this in here. Okay. So now, when we have a collision, we should see, okay, we have this socket, and we need to find the other socket ID, so we'll send our socket, and then we'll send buffer right, C, client, buffer 8, other dot sock. That is what we store it as, correct? Sock? Sock. Shoutouts to Sock. Okay, so we should read the collision. And we're gonna say, hey, this is what we are. We are socket. Let me just copy this over. Be easier that way. We are socket, and this is our collision. Okay. Then we need the player ID, where we are, scale. Sprite does not matter. Image index does not matter. Mask index does not matter. Because if we have the collision, we know we have it on ours, so we'll do some point in rectangle top stuff. We should get the room. We should know if there's a battle manager, so we don't do something silly. We should know the angle too. Actually, do we need to know the angle? No. So this can go. Ah, wait, this is the alarm. That can stay. We don't need the angle, but we do need for state equals buffer read buffer, and this is a buffer S8. Okay, so we have our information, and now we just need to do something with it. So point in first, we need to actually find our player. So okay, right, we have our collision, so actually we need to double up on this. If this should be our collision player. Our current player should be this one. All right. I actually don't think we need to send anything back if neither of these are good. So just go ahead and prematurely break for minor performance gains. So if we're in range for a collision, we should actually do something. So switch state. That's where we'll need to actually get our player state enum. Here, we'll just drop this over here. Okay, so we're moving. If y is less than, this should be a jump, so we need to actually, first let's do the speed check. If abs... Do we even send our speed over? No, we don't. Ah, that would be something we need, for sure. So let's do that. Put it right here after this. X speed and Y speed. Okay. We'll do the same for this. We need to update that here. Dunzo. Alright. So that's all good now. I think we have an error somewhere. That's here. Okay, so if our X speed is greater than 10, is probably good. We should do some speed stuff. So we're going to need to do 2 buffers here, I think. So we will buffer seek this buffer and buffer seek start. Is that the correct thing? I might as well just copy this. I'm gonna need to send a lot of stuff anyways. Ha ha ha. Just have to fact check this stuff. So we're going to send back a collision event. Okay, so send our socket. We'll send collision socket. And I think we need an X speed, a Y speed, and a state. What's our state sent as? State is sent as a S8. Is that what we called it here? State. Yep. Okay, so we will send this back to ourself. But we'll need to make some changes. So state should get changed to player dot. Oh, we're gonna need that whole enum, aren't we? No, we won't need that. We'll send back player state.moving movement. So we will send that to our primary collision. I think I want to do a check here that kind of looks and sees like, okay, well, is our collision player actually schmoving? Who's going to get priority here? Are they both going to take damage? I think we should do some comparison. Let's up this. So this is for movement state. If we're moving pretty fast, we're running in this scenario, right? So we'll give it to whoever has the higher speed. So if okay, so we want to send back negative X speed, and we'll send back -5 for a jump height. And send that. We'll just transfer the movement speed over to the other character and also give them -5, and they will get hurt. So now how do I handle this on the game side? So first, we're gonna need to send over, in this case, we want to send over our socket. We don't need to send the colliding socket because that'll get updated anyways. I think. This will all depend on like what's actually happening. So let's move our thing up here, our state, right after the socket. So we have a collision, that's what we read here, and we want to find the player, you know, responsible. So This needs to be collision sock. This can go, so we don't need that. Okay, collision, who we're colliding with, because that's who we're going to update here. Ah, wait, no. Collision, socket, movement. Okay, so this can actually, we'll comment this out. Socket, and then state. What state are we going to be in? So we will switch the state, and this will determine how we parse this data. So we get player state dot movement. Then we are going to ignore this, because we don't need this here. We are going to set our X speed to buffer read buffer S16 buffer S16, and our Y speed to buffer read buffer S16, and then we will state equals player move, just like that. What's going on? I'm working on multiplayer for Angels and Demons. Right now we're working on collisions with other players. So if you run into them at a high speed or something like that, then stuff should happen instead of just phasing through the character. So that's what's going on right now. So if we get a hurt code back, then we should actually, we don't need to send that. We should say X speed. Actually, we just need to do this over. Just change this to hurt. Clear hurt. Alright. So let me peek into this, make sure I'm doing it properly. So I feel like I've probably missed something here. We need OBJ player. Here's our collision event. So we're sending all this stuff over, and we're gonna check all this stuff, make sure we can actually do things. No, this will work properly. So this is, yeah, this is set up properly. Okay. So here's our movement. Here we should figure out if we're jumping. So if we are falling, then we will do this. We only need to send over a wasp speed, so we will send over -9, which is pretty good value regardless. And then we will send to our collision a hurt, and this time they will receive an X speed and a Y speed. We can just say just like that. That should work. So there's our jump and our movement. So now player state dot dash. If we are dashing, what should happen? Ooh, I see. I did screw something up there. Aha. That should fix our image angle problem. Didn't catch that earlier. And this is state. So we send our state back to everyone else. Boy, do I love copying and pasting code from earlier in my script. Okay, so this should send a message to both players and say like, hey, you both collided in a dash. But otherwise, if the other player isn't dashing, then we should do some more silly stuff. And we'll send dash back, and again, we just need to send this to our main player. But this will be player state.hurt, and we will need to send more information. So we'll just send whatever that speed was plus whatever our X speed is. That should work. What else do we have to cover here? Spirit, super, hurt. And scarf. This should work now though. This should be roughly what we need. So let's package this up real quick and let's see how it works. Package them both up. And there we go. Oh, I didn't even realize I did not change my info on stream. Haha. We are not doing beatdown slash attack style today. And this wasn't really a short stream either. I totally forgot to change that. First time for everything, I guess. Let's get this extracted and go ahead and set it up. Okay. Two game instances here open. Okay. And let's send them in. Ah, and of course I would forget something. Lol. That's so funny. Multi-state not set. Okay. That's an easy fix. Only issue is I have to wait for the game to recompile. I will have to restart the server there. Let's go ahead and do that while this is still going through. Okay. And let's get game out again. Okay. That doesn't bode well at all. Doink, doink. Any collisions want to happen? No. So why is this happening? Oh, you know what? I bet we don't have the multiplayer state properly set. Let me... Okay, I'll have to close these, but this is okay. That will stay, so... Let me double check this here. We properly set this, right? So our server sends a state change. Okay, so this is an easy fix, actually. Let me figure a good way to put this. This will be a useful function to have anyways. Function net update mode. And let's come up with something real quick like. But what? What do we need to send here? We need to send a header, so I bet this is kind of all we need. Alright, so buffer seek start, we need to send a state change, and we want to send our mode that we get, and then we will tell. So just like that. That's all we need. And let's plug that in here to be global.mode. Okay. And I guess I can just run this from the command line now, or from the IDE. And there we go. Get my game instances back up. Oh, wait. I see. I did a thing. We need to first read this. Our state, a room, and then a character. Okay, hold up. That will not work. Okay. Update mode. State mode. Buffer right, this buffer string, and what do we call this over here? Global.map. Global.map, buffer right, s buffer, and buffer s8, and we'll just make this I. This should update the character, but that actually doesn't do anything in here, does it? It just needs that information. So, that's okay. Didn't realize you were streaming. LOL. LOL! That's so true, honestly. Shocking how that's a thing I would just do is stream. I did not do that properly, did I? I think I missed a period there. I don't sanitize my inputs yet. Oh, still streaming. Yeah. I probably won't be streaming for a whole lot longer though, Sag. But, you know, ideally, I get a good chunk of this stuff done, you know, now, instead of later. Well. Okay. Alright, there we go. And sock not set before reading it. For why? This is in the server, which that's okay, I guess. But these have worked, so. Oh, because I'm not getting the socket. Haha, silly me. My biggest blunder to date. Okay, server app running. And you come down here. You come down here, please. Can I select you? Me using solid black backgrounds. Okay, we are in. And we immediately started getting collisions, but global variable name player not set. It's another server issue, and that's absolutely just me misspelling something. Which is oh so silly. So, what was that on? 128. Okay, hopefully the last time I have to recompile it. No. Alright. Very funny. This one's a game crash. Attempting to read from outside the buffer. Line -1. Yep. Yep. Okay. So that doesn't tell me a lot. But, I mean, I can think, I guess. So if we have a collision, are we actually going to return anything? Ever? Oh, I see I didn't put a thing here, so... There's one fixed there. This movement should have 2 variables come back to it. Dash, we'll go over these individually. Dash should only receive a true or false variable. Yeah. For collision. Okay, yeah, this is... Okay. This is also good because I'm pretty sure this means I don't have to recompile the base game again, which is what I want to avoid doing, because that takes a lot longer. Okay. Yeah, fair, honestly. I need to really work on the, what do you call it? Like, I guess it would be, minimum volume. Unknown object.state not set before reading. Again, in the server. Okay. But silliness over there. So, server's gone, but... Alright. Player collision. Where did this happen at? What line? 194. Hmm. That really makes me think, actually. Because ideally, there should be those little safety checks in place to make sure that that exact thing doesn't happen. Hmm. I guess I could, in theory, send over the other, like the socket itself. Hmm. What are we sending over here? Maybe we're sending bad data. OBJ player. So our socket, then the collision socket. This is us, this is them. I actually don't need to send this back now that I'm looking at it, but so state is not set before reading it. But for unknown object. Which just strikes me as odd because we literally make sure that this exact thing doesn't happen. If our colliding player, our current player, or the socket is, an invalid thing, then we shouldn't even execute any of this. I mean, I'm using the right accessor for this, right? TS lists. Yeah. And then anytime we get a connection, we create a player, we tell it, hey, you have a socket, and then we give it to this list. Huh. Puzzling, honestly. Hmm. Really, really got me thinking, honestly. Huh. Let's just try this again. Just see how it works. I'll have that little tidbit of info there. Okay, so it's increasing properly, which is good. That's what we want. We're actually getting stuff added to that list. Okay, 2. Send them. Okay. So we should be sending a collision event here, and it should move us back, but it isn't. Well, consider me kind of stumped right now. Unless our multiplayer state is not properly set, which also wouldn't surprise me. But we don't appear to be getting any kind of collisions either, so... In closing the game also reset our list, which is good. Means the disconnect's registered properly, so... I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's enough streaming for today. I think I'm going to leave it here. Kind of got quite a bit done, and I'll poke and prod at this a little bit later, but for now, I've got a few other things I got to do during my day, so I'll head out. So for those of you who are still watching, thanks for joining in, and, you know, be sure to join the Discord if you're interested in, you know, getting notified about streams in the future or any other updates about Angels and Demons. And yeah, I think that's all I got to say. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next stream.